I'm going to tell you where you find most of the narcissistically abusive people in this life, or rather, where narcissistically abusive people find you. As a matter of fact, it's where narcissistically abusive people are waiting for you. And that is the path of self-discovery, because the path of self-discovery is where narcissists lie in wait. Now, this is something that I hear all the time as a coach. People want to go on a self-discovery journey, especially after dealing with narcissistic abuse. Kevin, I'm done with people. I'm done with dating. I just want to discover myself, without even realizing that self-discovery is where narcissistically abusive people are lying in wait for you. And I'm going to get there, but if I were to author a book about my own personal life, and having been a coach for years, talking to many of you, it would sound like this. This would be the title of the book right here. While trying to find myself, the devil found me. How many of you can already relate to this statement? I'm going to throw up a scripture for you here. It says 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because the devil walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Who does the devil want to devour? And the devil can be manifest through narcissistic abuse. And who a roaring lion devours is the lost, the broken, the one who is wandering. And when you are on a path of self-discovery, you typically be in a place of wandering. But I have good news for you in all of this. I have the alternative, a way in which you can start to structure your life so that you're no longer on a path of self-discovery where narcissistically abusive people are waiting for you. Instead, you're in a different place. And I'll share that with you at the end of this video, because it's the place where you will be protected from narcissistically abusive people. Let's get into this topic even more. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I continue, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments. Just click the link for one-on-one appointments. It will take you to my scheduling page. You can select a video call or a standard telephone call. That will take you directly to my calendar. All you have to do is select your date and your time, and just like that, you're all done, and I look forward to talking with you. So head on down there, schedule some time with me right now. I also have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person. I spend my time with you each and every day talking about deep things regarding narcissism and healing, also challenges such as fasting and different ways to get your life back on track. Not self-discovery, but back on track and in a healthy way. So head on down there. There's all kinds of good things for you to get enrolled in, get started with. I look forward to talking with you. Now, we're talking about the path of self-discovery and how it leads to narcissistic abuse. So let's talk a little bit more about the path of self-discovery. Here's what the path of self-discovery says. Again, this is from my own personal experience in life. It's also from dealing with all of you throughout my years of coaching individuals just like you coming out of narcissistic abuse. When you're on a path of self-discovery in life, and it doesn't matter how you word this, you can call it self-discovery, you can call it self-improvement, you can call it on a path to better yourself. It all says the same thing. It says that you don't know who you are, which is a dangerous place to be. And here's why. Self-discovery says this: you're vulnerable. You have low critical awareness, low discernment, low judgment, and you're overly trusting. Number one, if you're on a path of self-discovery, right, you're not really in a place to be discerning or judging, because you have nothing to judge against, because you haven't really established who you are. You're still discovering that. So you're relying on the outside world and outside people to help you out while you discover. This creates vulnerability. This causes you to be overly trusting. And for those of you who already know, I'm not a big fan of trusting, right? As a matter of fact, I posted a video on TikTok. I posted it here on YouTube too. It's a short. It went viral, over 1 million something views. And the title of it is Trust Doesn't Exist. I know some of you are shaking your head going, that's a terrible philosophy, Kevin. Well, listen, 1 million and so people watching it says something. It says that there's something true about that. Trust is not something that you should enter into a relationship because of. Trust equals betrayal. if you're not careful, right? So self-discovery puts you on a path in life where you have to trust others. A dangerous place to be, right? Number 2 down there, self-discovery says that you're typically open to anything. Again, you're vulnerable. Your judgment is off, which means you're gullible to persuasion. You have low boundaries. If you're on a self-discovery journey, you're going to be more likely to go along with what other people want you to do. Why? Because you're discovering what your capabilities are. How many of you can already start to see how narcissistically abusive people benefit from your self-discovery journey? All right. Number 3 down there, it says you have a need for belonging. Anytime you are on a self-discovery journey, you're trying to sort out where you belong and where you fit in. This can lend to you overgiving, catering to others, ultimately exhausting yourself. And worst case scenario, it develops codependency. Your need to belong, your need to fit in, your need to find acceptance, all because you're on a self-discovery journey, can create codependency. All right. Let's talk, now that we talked a little bit about what a self-discovery journey is, what it says about you, let's look at what narcissistically abusive people are looking for. Because this is going to tell you how and why a self-discovery journey puts you on a path that is literally just littered with narcissistically abusive people all over that path, because this is the type of person they're looking for. Are you ready? They're looking for somebody who is vulnerable and overly trusting, aren't they? That's exactly what narcissistically abusive people are after. They will establish an entire relationship with you, intimacy with you, and they want it based on trust. Narcissistically abusive people delusionally want you to continue trusting in them, hoping in them, believing in the relationship that you have, despite them being abusive towards you, despite them being mean towards you, despite them cheating on you, running around on you, putting you down. None of that matters. You don't trust. They want you to go along with their plans. They want you to do what they tell you to do. How many of you are even seeing that in society? Do what we tell you to do. Trust in us. You can see the narcissism, right? Trust. Never mind that it might not be good for you. Trust. Narcissists are looking for people who are vulnerable and who will go along, right? Number 2, open to anything. Narcissistically abusive personalities, people who want to use you, abuse you, take you for granted. They need you to be open to anything. They need you to be gullible. They need you to have low boundaries. Otherwise, they can't take advantage of you. A society cannot take advantage of you unless you're gullible, unless you have low boundaries. A narcissistically abusive person who just wants to use you for your body, for your money. They can't do anything unless you are open to anything, unless you're gullible, unless you have low boundaries. I'm going to share with you an interesting story. It was somewhat nerve-wracking for me, but I visited Haiti not that long ago, right? I have a brother who does missions work out there, and he said, Kevin, come out to Haiti, visit me, see what I'm doing. And I remember telling him, I'm like, I have nobody to go with me. He says, don't worry about it. Just come on out. You don't need anybody to go with you. Just hop on a jet, hop on a plane, come out and visit. Not a good idea. Listen, I don't really think any of you, myself included, should ever go to another country, on your own necessarily, But nonetheless, I did. And by the way, the Haitian people are beautiful people. I had a great time when I was there, right? Met some of the most fantastic, beautiful people. But when I landed in Haiti, immediately I was detained because I was the only American there in the Haitian airport. And while I was detained with the Haitian official, thank God somebody who I met on the plane who was a Haitian, also spoke English, walked by the office where I was detained, said some things in Creole to the Haitian official, and then they let me go. I was probably detained for about 20 minutes. That was a little bit nerve-wracking, but that wasn't the worst part. And again, it was just when I landed. The worst part was after I got out and got to my luggage, I couldn't find my luggage, and that's because a Haitian person took my luggage and then brought it to me. Then I was to pay them. Okay, fine, I get it. I expected that. But then as I was walking out, there was a gated area. I was surrounded by strangers who wanted to give me a ride, right? And I was approached by this person. Where are you going? I'm going to do my best to do the accent. Where are you going? Where are you going? And I said, my brother he works here. He's a missionary and some people. And I knew the names and I saw the pictures of all the people that were there to pick me up. And they're on their way. And I told him that. I said, I know, I'm waiting for some people to pick me up. And he go, who picked you up? Who picked you up? I'd take you to them. This is what he was saying. I'd take you to them. I'm like, who? And he kept asking and pushing, who? Who's here to pick you up? Who here? Who's here? And I'm like, look, they're here. Listen, they're right. And he was persistent. And I'll never forget this. He said, they're not here. They're not here right now. They're not here. Why you tell me they're here? They're not here. I would take you. I know where you need to go. I'll take you. Come on, I'll take you. There's nobody here for you. And I was getting nervous. I haven't been talked to like that. This guy was aggressively looking for what? Me to be open to anything, gullible, and having low boundaries. Thank God I just continued to stand my ground. I'm like, no. People were coming. I was a little bit upset with my brother because his people were kind of late picking me up, by the way. I was there for a good 5 to 10 minutes haggling with this Haitian person who was demanding that he take me. He knew where I needed to go. Even though he did not know me, even though he didn't know my brother, he knew where I needed to go, right? God only knows what would have happened. Had I took his invitation, had I been trusting, vulnerable, open to anything, low boundaries, oh, sure, you know where I need to go? I would have hopped in some car with this Haitian person, and I probably would have ended up on the side of the road with no money and my wallet and my luggage all gone. Who knows? I'm not saying for certain, but what I am saying is that these people, and I'm not saying this Haitian person, but it's just an analogy and it's a story to help you to understand that this person, this Haitian person, had been at the airport long enough to know what it looks like when somebody is new and uncomfortable. That's why I'm sharing the story. He knew that I was a stranger in their land. He knew I was uncomfortable. He knew that I was waiting on somebody. He knew I was nervous. He was able to smell it, right? Likewise, narcissistically abusive people in this life, like sharks, can smell the blood in the water. That's what I put up there. They can smell when somebody is on a self-discovery journey. They can smell when somebody is vulnerable. They can smell when you are vulnerable. Yes, they can. Narcissistically abusive people can smell when you're open to anything, when you're gullible, when you have low boundaries. Narcissistically abusive people, they can smell, and they're looking for people who need to belong. A narcissistically abusive person has no problem with bringing you in to cater to them, to serve to them because you have a need for belonging. You need to find acceptance in this life. They have no problem with you becoming codependent, which means all codependency is, by the way, I've made a video talking about codependency in which I plainly state that it doesn't exist outside of an abusive relationship. Codependency isn't real unless you're in an abusive relationship. Narcissistically abusive people make you codependent. Why? Because they take your giving, loving, caring nature into a relationship where you're constantly giving, loving, and serving, exhausting yourself while they're never thankful. It's not reciprocated. This is what creates codependency. And they're telling you that it's not good enough, which eats you away and it deteriorates you, right? Because your gifts aren't being appreciated. You're being taken for granted. And this is what codependency is. And you're up against that wall. Why am I being taken for granted? Why don't you love me? Why am I not good enough? Right? Narcissistically abusive people look for vulnerable people, people open to anything, people needing to belong. Narcissistically abusive people are looking for those on a self-discovery journey. So you're probably saying, Kevin, I've always thought that I needed to improve myself and be a better version of myself. How do I do this if I'm not on a self-discovery journey? I feel like I don't even know myself. I hear this all the time, and I get that. I understand. Here's why you feel like you don't know yourself. Here's why you feel like you need to improve yourself. It's not because you need to go on a self-discovery journey. That's not the answer. I'm going to give you the answer right now. This is what you've been waiting for. You don't need self-discovery. You need self-acceptance. For the first time in your life, in a world and in a society that has not allowed you to accept yourself, this is what public education has done when you were a child. Be better. You have to be like so-and-so. You have to keep up with them. You're graded in comparison to that person and that person. You have to be more like them. You have to be more like them. And it's kept your head spinning. Who am I? I got to be those guys. I got to be this guy. I got to be. But never, who am I? And perhaps your parents even failed you. Never truly accepting you as a young child or as a person. You never learned how to accept yourself. Self-acceptance. Everything about you, your gifts, your talents, your natural abilities, your looks, your attitude, primary critical things about you that are unchangeable are oftentimes the things that you think you need to improve. And that's where narcissists find you and use you. You see, when you accept everything about you, narcissists can't touch you. Why? Because your yes is yes and your no is no, based off of who and what you are. The way to avoid narcissistic abuse is not with self-discovery, it is with self-acceptance. When you accept everything about you, you now have a foundation from which to judge the world and judge everybody that comes into your life, because you're not trying to gain their acceptance. You're not trying to become vulnerable. You're not trying to do everything they want you to do, to have no boundaries. You're judging them as to whether or not they are a good fit for you because you accept yourself. When you're in a place of judging others to make sure they're good and healthy for you, you're in a place of letting your yes be yes and your no be no, just like the Bible says to be. And you can send people on their way comfortably. And yes, it may limit the amount of friends you have. Maybe your idea of having friends is getting along with everybody in the world. It's not possible, because you're going to come across people that you're going to have to say, dude, you need to stay away. Because I could see right now, you and I are not going to get along. Because this is how I operate. That's how you operate. Your opinion is yours. I don't live according to that. Whereas on a self-discovery journey, you're more likely to say, oh, that's how you operate. Oh, okay, well, I'll try to do that for you. I'll try to be that for you. And before you know it, you're neck deep in abusive, murky water. You're in darkness, right? A lot of Christians, by the way, enter into this place. Why? Because you believe you're this light. Yeah? And you are this light. But I come across this all the time. People who come from a Christian background feel that you can take your light, wander into any territory. I've had this argument with somebody over the telephone, and they ultimately agreed that I was right. There's a time and a point where your light can get snuffed out. You go too deep into darkness. The darkness can surround you, and nobody will see your light. Imagine, take a torch. How far can that torch go into a dark forest before the torch ceases to exist? Okay? You cannot be a light and say, I'm going on a self-discovery journey and go into dark places and expect to have everything work out. At some point, darkness can eat you up, right? The other issue with self-discovery is that you're never going to find a better version of you. Wherever you go, there you are. That's the biggest problem you're going to run into with self-discovery. No matter what mirror you look in, anywhere in the world, the only person that's going to stare back at you is you. There's no upgraded self. There's no better self. It's just you. Self-acceptance is looking at the mirror saying, you're fine. You're good. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're talented. On and on and on. And look at yourself in the mirror, because this is what God has given you to operate from. Sure, you can improve your knowledge. Sure, you can improve your skills in life. Sure, you can become better at this and better at that. But a better you, wherever you go, there you are. And I want you to etch this in your mind. Part of improving your knowledge, improving your skills, improving your wisdom, part of that, if you want to do that effectively, comes down to accepting who you are first. So I hope that this makes sense to you. If you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comment section down below. I would love to talk to you. And as I said before, I am here to support you. Okay? So for those of you who would like to spend one-on-one time with me, head on down to the description box below this video. Once again, select a one-on-one appointment with me. You have the option of doing a video appointment or a standard telephone appointment. Just click on the reserve now spot. It will take you right to my calendar where you can select your date and your time. It is very simple. I would love the opportunity to talk with you and to help get you through an abusive situation that you're dealing with right now. All right. I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We.